first year I came to the Enterprise Centre and I pitched my idea to a panel of people, and they gave me a grant which I used to buy my equipment. So I bought a camera and a Mac, and I used that to build my business upon that. So I started doing some small jobs for friends and family. That grew into slightly bigger jobs, and then with that money I bought some more equipment, and I sort of grown up from there. So now I've got like a full production set of equipment and all the cameras and things like that, which means I can operate fully as an independent cameraman and editor with all the equipment that I need.
For me, becoming self-employed wasn't really until I got to the final year of university. I always wanted to work for a larger organisation, and just as it became around to getting ready to leave uni, I thought, well, you know, there's people that are perhaps working freelance and working for themselves that can do just as well as working for a bigger organisation, and I thought, you know, let's give it a go.
Well, obviously when we first started out, we were looking for help securing some funding, and we also wanted to have an official office where people could come and find us. So we came to Spark House and they said, well, we will offer you some funding, we will also help you kind of gain a bit more of a business mind, and they also provided us with a mentor, which has been quite helpful. So since then, they've looked after us pretty well.
The support from Enterprise in the start, as part of the Lixie scheme, I mean, we got an office in Spark House for a very low rent. I mean, this was part of a funded scheme, but we got a lot of kind of support in terms of when we were setting up the business. You know, we became VAT registered straight away, and we didn't really know much about that, and we had support from our accountants. But the then manager of the of Spark House was really helpful in kind of helping us with some of our kind of bookkeeping stuff and giving us some, you know, some tips and this sort of thing. And also there was, and still kind of is, a number of kind of talks and events which are organised kind of either by Enterprise, Spark House, or by you know, people that are linked in with Enterprise that they kind of get involved with. And in the initial period setting up a business, these kind of practical workshops, whether it be something to do with inland revenue or to do with VAT accounting or kind of marketing and that sort of thing, were really useful because, you know, neither Steve nor myself came from a business background, and this was all kind of new to us. We just kind of wanted to make films, and someone pay us money to do that, and that'd be great.
I applied to be a tenant in Spark House Studios in 2005, and at the time, you know, we had to fill out an application form, and that was checked to see if the business was kind of like viable, and to make sure that we actually had a knowledge of, you know, what we needed to do to set up a business. From the application process, we got invited to a panel meeting, and that was kind of a meeting to sit down and explain to a group of people about what our business idea was at the time, and, you know, how we envisaged the business being set up. From there, we got accepted, and once moving into the building, you know, we were quite heavily supported from Spark House. There were regular networking meetings called Ignite. We went to those to begin with, and from actually going to those meetings, I found our accountant that we still use now, and, you know, it took us through things about legal processes, things like tax, and it was really, really helpful. If ever we had a question, you know, it was really easy to go to the manager at Spark House and ask them. If they didn't know the answer, they would point someone towards us that you know, perhaps did know how to solve the problem. We also had access to a mentor. We saw them on a monthly basis, and that was quite good because it was one of my tutors from university, so they knew what I was doing from uni, and it was good just to discuss things and have a sounding board, really, to find out if things were a good idea or not.
You need to be reliable, You need to make sure that all your deadlines get met, you never let your clients down. Good communication is a big one for us. We try to keep our clients updated every couple of days, even if we've got nothing to show them. Just send them an email saying, oh, this is what we're doing and this is how it goes. It brings them into the process and they feel like you're not forgot about them, and people like to feel wanted. And also making sure you're on top of your finances, making sure that everybody gets paid who's supposed to get paid, and that you need to get that sorted.
Well, I think for any business to be successful, you've got to have the drive and motivation and determination to make it a success. Nothing comes to you straight away, so if you're not prepared to put in the hard work and effort, then perhaps running your own business isn't for you. You've got to be really, really keen about the subject or the area that you're working in. Again, if you've got no interest, for example, it makes work very, very difficult. But I think as long as you've got a dream and you're willing to work and put the time in and not give up when things get difficult, I think anyone can do it.
We've broken quite a few stories, and so far we're kind of gaining a lot of momentum quite rapidly, because we've only been about for about 2 years, and we've already got almost half the population of Lincoln checking us out and reading us quite regularly as well. So that's always good to see.
I'd say my biggest achievement is, I've just come back from a trip from the Arctic. I was out there for a week and a bit filming Inuit communities and the culture in Arctic conditions, sort of -20, 60-mile-an-hour winds. It's exactly what I want to be doing, so it's really fun.
Well, I think the biggest achievement from running the business is that the number of people I've got to meet. I've worked with some semi-famous people, some minor celebrities, just because of the nature of the jobs that we do. So, perhaps if I was working in a different field of employment, I wouldn't have got to meet these people. And I think just watching the business grow from when it was first set up to how it's trading now, the type of different clients that we work with, I'm really proud of how Bright Sparks has progressed.
Running a business, funnily enough, because a business and a design studio is two totally different things. I could run a design studio last year or this year, it's fine, I know how to run that, but a business, all the generic things that every business has to go through, such as tax and such as national insurance and paying bills and that. So running that as well as running the studio, doing the work, getting work in, I think just being able to cope with it all, I think that's the biggest achievement.
Great because you're your own boss and you decide what you do and how you do it and all that sort of things. But also it's great because that if we do long hours, and sometimes it's a case of you work 20 days straight working 10-12 hour shifts, but the only person, I suppose, other than the client obviously benefiting from that is yourself. You're not kind of lining somebody else's pocket or anything like that. But I think the great thing really is the freedom to be able to do what we want. We can kind of choose what jobs we take on when we're busy. Other times we're not so busy, we kind of have to take what we need to do to get by. But the fact that we've got this opportunity to make our own films, I think if Steve or myself didn't have that opportunity to put some of the the business's kind of profits into our own work, I think both of us have struggled for motivation at times. And even though some of these projects have taken a long time to do, making our own independent films was something that both Steve and myself just really wanted to do. So having that freedom to do that, I think is just fantastic.
Consider starting your own company, because there's probably a gap in the market somewhere which you could probably fill with your own idea.
I'd say the challenges I've faced so far is trying to combine being self-employed with being a student. It's not quite as easy as it seems. A lot of the time you're having to work long hours just to get, keep clients happy and also try and get the work done for uni. So I find balancing that can sometimes be hard, but it's something that I enjoy.
The biggest piece of advice I'd give to a student or graduate is that if you've got a business idea, go for it. If you don't try, you never know. And with people like the Enterprise at Lincoln staff, the facilities that we've got here in Lincoln, there's nothing better to support you in trying your business idea out. I tried, I've been here 6 years, and if I hadn't have tried, I would have never known. So go for it.